Hello everyone, this is Money Mom. Welcome to the channel. My mother's family finally found me after 58 years. Let's get started and talk about it. This actually happened within the last couple weeks, and that's what I want to chat with you guys about today. I will have to take you back to the beginning. I've been on YouTube almost 6 years, and I've also done videos on how I was adopted when I was a baby. I was adopted when I was 3 weeks old. I was born and raised in the Twin Cities, so St. Paul, Minneapolis area, okay? And so my parents adopted me, and they were in their 20s when they did adopt me, and then they also adopted my sister a couple years later, but my sister and I are not from the same biological family, just to share with that. But I've always felt that my parents that raised me were my parents. I never really knew much about my family. So let's take you back to the beginning. 5 years ago or so, right around 5-6 years ago, I put my information out on Ancestry.com. I was just kind of curious what nationality I was and a little bit about myself. I never thought that any family members would reach out to me. So all of a sudden I get an email saying, "Hey Dawn, I think I'm your cousin." Well, it comes to pass that she wasn't my cousin. She was my biological father's sister. Okay, well, they did not know about me at all. No one on that side of the family knew about me. So they were really surprised. I have had some contact with my biological father's side of the family, but to be honest, many of them live in the Twin Cities and other areas around the United States, and they all live their own life. Lovely people. They've been very gracious to me, but it's not like if we lived in the same area, it might be different, but you know, we all live somewhere else, and they're finding out about me 50 years later. So, you know what? I don't really have contact with them at this point, but they were very gracious and very kind. But like I said, everybody's living their own life. So that takes me to present day 2023, July 2023. I get a message through Ancestry, a very nice message from a lovely lady, and I'm not going to use any names in here because I want to protect their privacy, that said, "Dawn, according to Ancestry, we're first cousins." Well, for whatever reason, I just assumed it was from my father's side. So I mentioned some people's names, and she said no. After looking at this, she said, "My father is your mother's brother." Well, just to let you know right away, my mother passed away and her father passed away, unfortunately. So I'll never have an opportunity to talk to my biological mother, and she would be 81 right now and turning 82 sometime in August. But my mother did get married, and she did have a daughter 5 years after me who I did get to speak to. So I wanted to share that with you. And so I've had contact with one lovely cousin and my half-sister. I've had contact with her. Really sweet lady. She lives also in the Midwest, won't say her location, but really very, very talkative, very friendly, very kind. And that's one thing I'm noticing from the two people I've spoken to. Everyone's extremely open, outgoing, warm, and friendly. So I'm going to use those words to describe them. So I wanted to know a little bit more about my mother. A few of these things I knew, but most of these I didn't. And I wanted to share that with you today. She would be 81 right now if she was alive, but she would be turning 82 in August. And so she grew up, I think, on a farm, from what I can tell, and lived much of her life in the Twin Cities. She was a nurse and really loved it. She loved to work. She was an excellent nurse. And so I found that out about her, and she was extremely responsible and hardworking. These are all the things I found out about my mother. Also, she didn't know a stranger, kind of like me, and as a matter of fact, I found out at her funeral, her daughter said, or my half-sister said that she was shocked at how many people came to her funeral. Now, before my mother passed, she worked out at the Y pretty much almost every day, and she was an excellent swimmer, which I'm an okay swimmer, but she was an excellent swimmer, and so that was something that she did quite a bit. And so she was really into exercising. So I thought that that was phenomenal. Another thing about her that is different than me, and this is where they say nature over nurture. You know, I'm very friendly and outgoing, just like my biological mother was. But the other thing is my biological mother would speak up about things. Like me, I was raised by the mother that raised me, not my biological mother, but the mother that raised me my whole life. Very loving person too, So I'm sure both of these ladies, or both of them unfortunately have passed. Both of them very loving, wonderful, giving ladies. But I was raised by the mother that raised me. Dawn, keep quiet, don't cause waves. And so that's how I was raised, okay? So my biological mother was not like that. If something wasn't right, she would speak up. She was very kind and polite about it, but she would speak up. But it sounds like to me that she was extremely responsible. She was a worker bee, and everyone loved her. Wherever she went, everybody said hi to her. And this is the funny thing, I think you'll get a kick out of this, that my half-sister, which I'm just going to call her sister, my dear sister who I've spoken to a few times, who I'm hoping to go visit next summer, a really sweet, sweet lady, she told me that she used to be a little embarrassed going grocery shopping with our mom because she said she would stop and talk to everybody. I thought, oh my gosh, so do I. As a matter of fact, I have a video on my channel about 10 reasons you don't want to go shopping with me. And it's true. And I thought, well, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm really sad that I never got a chance to meet my mother. I'm hoping to get a chance to meet some of my mother's family members. What I really like about them, from the little bit I do know, is everyone is so warm, friendly, open-minded, kind. They all seem like they're very hard-working people and just very gracious and generous people. And I can tell that they kind of all have a caretaking type personality, which I also have. So I think that I've got a lot in common. Those are some things that I can kind of share with you about my mother. Now, I don't know much about the rest of the family yet. We're just slowly doing this, but getting to know one another. But everyone has different work schedules and things, and families are taken care of. So trying to get people where we can kind of talk together and get our schedules coordinated is a little challenging, but I'm sure we will. But I'm glad I found out all the wonderful things about my mother. It sounded like she lived the life she wanted to live. She really wishes that she would have kept me, but she wanted me to have a good life. And it just sounded like she was loving, dedicated, hardworking, generous, a very smart person. And her daughter that she raised is a lot like her. And it just sounds like it's a wonderful family. So I'm glad I've had the opportunity to get to know more about my family on my mother's side. And I just wanted to share that with you today. And so the thumbnail picture is a picture of my mother when she was a nurse. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I just wanted to share that with you today. I love you, I appreciate you, and I sure hope you come back for tomorrow morning's video. Bye-bye.